Last time on Lawful Stupid. Welcome back to Goron. We welcome you to Agos, the new frontier of Goron. Our new heroes find themselves feet first on floating docks.
Brother,
Kato!
you've upgraded, it appears.
Yeah, my dude, I gotta have a way to make money in the new world. Very cool. And what about you, little sprout? How have you been?
Just dandy.
You guys want to hop on the old wagon and we'll get her rolling?
Following that big road down the way, that's towards Prynith, right?
Path to Prynith. Yep. It's a dangerous place. If you're not equipped to fight, I would find someone who is.
Oh no, I have my brother here. Look how strong he is.
You pack up and then you guys head out, right?
Yeah.
After about 5 hours, you can see out in the distance a good stretch of darkness, and then you can see as your torches pick up again, but you don't know how deep that darkness is. You hear in the distance a deep, guttural roar. Where we ended up last episode is the three of you were on... Do you have a name? Yes, you do. You're on the Panda Express. And you were just pulling out of this darkened area from where these azure torches had went out. And you heard this roar, this guttural roar. And in the distance, not far from you, you can see on your right-hand side 3 canine-looking beasts about 45 feet out from you. And they're turning and heading your direction. What do you want to do?
And we are still all on the cart.
You're on the cart, and I
far as I
never anticipated you guys like racing the cart, just going at a normal pace because you had just started again.
Yeah, how far away are we from the nearest torch?
You guys are a good 5 feet from light again. It's not much at all, like
Okay.
because you had already moved some distance before they caught on to you.
Interesting.
And we all see this, correct? This is like us as a collective group. Notice these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers, just used by Fan.
You're just gonna strike?
Spook them out. The little wolf pups things? Yeah. I don't know what they are.
Hey, Avon.
They're growling at us while we're here.
Do you know how big a wolf is?
They're probably huge.
Yeah, they're like 7 foot tall on all fours, just so you know. So,
Hey,
little
Dwayne?
wolf pup. Mm-hmm.
Would now be a good opportunity to make a pucker check? What do you call those rules?
I like it. It's pucker check.
That is the unofficial term, which is the pucker check. It is what we called it was a savagery check or something like that. A ferocity check.
A ferocity check. You want to talk about that, Dwayne?
Yeah, so in this
What is
this campaign, we are bringing to light a little custom mechanic. And it's not that complicated. The all too overlooked survival check, we are going to use, and we're going to call it for funsies, a ferocity check. And they're going to be able to make a survival roll to be able to assess these unknown creatures and determine how deadly they are to them. Or, you know, should we run? Is this a oh shit moment? Is this a tough moment? Or what is their general feel? So,
Okay.
Crew, if you would like to roll a ferocity check, you may.
So survival.
Yes.
Yeah, just do a survival check. That's all.
I rolled a 12 for custom.
15 for Darling.
Okay. And what did you
Pretty good
get,
average.
Kato?
Kato is 13.
13. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good roll. It's 13, 12, 15. So, with those rolls in a combination, but especially with Darlin having a 15. Darlin, you'll know... let me rephrase. You have the feeling that these are ferocious animals, and that just from their size, their demeanor, and the speed at which they're approaching you, they could be a tough fight. You don't get the idea that they would just chew through you, but they also don't seem like whips either. And all three of you kind of get that. Darlene, more so than anybody else, has the vibe that you could fight this and it'd be okay. Okay being a relative term.
Yeah.
My initial assessment is these enemies might be easier to dispatch. However, we may take some bumps and bruises of our own. I suggest we either all attack at once and show we are not afraid, or continue through very fast.
Very fast we go.
Very fast? Okay. I will hit the giddy up.
Okay. And so for the sake of this, let's say we know the speed of your mule, probably 30 feet per second. Or is it 40?
So the big thing is here that I can use a vehicle check, which I'm not proficient with.
Mhm.
So I'd just be making a straight D20 roll on that. But I can do a vehicle check to see if I can double their speed. I know is one of the feats of it, but let me get into my inventory so I can see
Yeah, because I'm more
These
worried
guys-
about their speed
their base speed. Yeah, let me see.
compared to... Because they're mules, right?
They're a donkey or
they're
mule.
donkeys. It's the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing.
Oh, they're 40 feet. Okay.
40 feet. yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. This could work in your favor. So I will say you can roll a vehicle proficiency check to let's see how well this goes, right? Because they're going to need to do more than 40 feet per second to outrun these guys.
Yeah, so I can attempt to get them to double their speed because they can't just freely dash because they have a cart. I rolled a 13.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do, because I like 13. I think that's good enough. They stop. Yeah, no, with a 13, they stop. Yep. They're busy being donkeys. So what I'm going to say is we're going to take this into narrative combat.
Woo!
Dun, dun, dun,
So,
dun, dun,
if you're
dun,
not
dun.
familiar with the rules of narrative combat, it is a system that Shane largely came up with, and it's designed to take the meat, the crunch out of scenarios, right? And so essentially what will happen, and Shane, feel free to correct me if I'm remembering these rules wrong,
Go nuts.
you basically are going to have your mind, body, and heart scores. And in this, you're going to say, I want to do this thing. And then you're going to make a case for what you want to do, potentially use some of your character resources to do that. And then you're going to go back and forth. And it is less about the idea of, I want to use my action to do this type of damage, as much as it is, I want to do this type of thing. Because otherwise it just feels like a weird version of combat, right? So it's like, oh, I want to throw a barrel of rice out of the back of this thing to try and slow them down. Don't know why you do rice, but you could, right? The idea is that it is more fluid. And just from the idea that, darling, you see them first. Actually, yeah, darling, since you'll see them first, because Shane, I'm going to say that you don't go first. Not that you lose a turn or anything, but you use your vehicle proficiency check to mush sugar and spice along. And so it is important to note that as you do that, these three large canine looking beasts almost come parallel. They're behind you, but they're not running on the cobblestone or in the light or in the direct light. They're in the dimmer light, so you can see them, but they are running parallel, chasing you and snarling. Darling, what would you like to do?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to that. Actually, no, it's only one creature of my choice. I'm not going back to my spell. There's 3 of them. I would like to turn into my fox self and snarl right back to be the bigger animal and spook them. Big puffy fur, make myself big.
How big is your fox?
Be intimidating. All I know is, I think I count as a medium-sized creature.
Okay. So you could be pretty big.
Yeah, it's a giant fox, right?
Yeah, it's a giant fox.
Which is just a medium creature. 'Cause it's big for a fox, but still.
Yeah, it's big for a fox. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big for a fox.
Okay.
I'm gonna say she's like around maybe like 6 feet, because I know in animal world they tend to be smaller than wolves, but pretty big
Giant
for her. 6 feet.
Giant fox.
Giant fox.
So I will say,
Yeah.
absolutely. You just want to be up on the cart and just kind of. What is your?
I'm
goal?
up on the cart.
Yeah. What is your goal? Are you roaring? Like, what is your strategy here to trying to dissuade them from striking?
Be big and puffy. Growling, snarling teeth, just like making the big ol' grr sounds.
So I could see this as either heart or body, right? Because you could either use your physique or use your heart to kind of like growl, roar to play it up. So I'll let you determine what score you want to use, and then we have to set an impact. And the goal here is to deter them from chasing you through your giant fox reverie.
Yeah. This is my territory, get the fuck out.
So I think your impact is medium. Let me go double check my values that I'm allowed to use to DM.
Go right on ahead, walk me through it, because man oh man, I like learning this thing every time we use it.
Yeah, we haven't used it enough to really like be super. Yeah, I think we left low, medium, and high. We don't really specify in this document, what your impact would be. Shane,
No,
feel free to correct me.
that's 100% DM discretion based on the scenario. Just how impactful would it be?
Yeah, I think you could have a medium impact, right? Because they don't necessarily they haven't necessarily seen one of you. You have to remember that street goes both ways.
I am also blue, and I know in general nature, blue tends to be a very poisonous color. So, don't know how this world works, but
I do.
This is Avon knowledge.
I do.
So let's have your roll. Are you doing heart or body?
I'm going to do heart.
I figured as much. So why
just
don't you roll me that
1d6?
D6? Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so I got a 2 on the die, and then I add my score, and that will be a 4.
That is
Okay,
succeed
so-
with a cost.
Yep, exactly. So to say that, you are going to succeed at a cost. So, describe this scenario to me. Unless you want me to paint the picture for you.
You paint it.
Take the first one, Dwayne. Take the first one.
Yeah.
So I imagine Darling, she was sitting on the front of the top of this Panda Express and hearing the mush and the rattling of the bridles and the hooves against the cobblestone. She turns around, seeing these 3 things, about 35 feet back, parallel to them. She climbs up on this cart on all 4s, and just with this it almost sounds meek at first, this howl that begins, but then as she shifts into this giant fox standing 6 foot tall on her own on this cart, and you also feel the cart wobble left and right a little bit as she gets her footing, and then she has this deep screech that comes out as her tail furrows in the air. And I think one of these things immediately just... If you've ever seen somebody use the front brakes on a motorcycle, it just hard brakes on those balls, and you kind of see its rear kind of come up, and just a puff of dirt as it like turns. But 2 more of these keep rolling. But as you're like anchored down in this, you kind of lose your grip a little bit, and so now you're on the back of the cart in fox form, holding on the back as they are approaching. So that is your cost, is that you are now lower down and to the back of these things. And so what one of them will do is they are actually going to... So, Kato, what are you doing? Because I will say it's important for me for this story. I know that Gustum is driving. So, Kato, what are you doing?
I'm gonna hop down. We have stopped, right? Because we're
no, you're still marching, and I don't want a whole action from you. I just need to know where you are so I can determine what you see.
If the cart is moving, I'm staying on the cart, but I'm looking out at the wolves that are approaching.
Okay, so I'm assuming you were riding shotgun, just kind of turning around, looking back. Okay. Fun fact: riding shotgun comes from being on a wagon and being the guy to ride with a shotgun to protect the driver. In case you didn't know that. Or somebody out there is going to prove me wrong, but it sounds fucking right.
No, I think that's right.
That's what I learned.
And so you Kato and Darling, you see these 2, again, wolf-like creatures. And as you look back and you're getting a better look, they've almost got this mane, this burnt orange mane. And it looks like scales or like thick... shingles almost. It is not attractive. It's not like a lion's mane, but it does go around the back of their head, and you notice that both of these are chasing after you, and then these 2 almost like plates, these scales leap from these manes and start floating up and approaching towards you as they're chasing you. And so for them, I will roll a body check.
Oh,
not a d20. Not a d20.
Please don't use a d20.
That is not the right thing.
Well, it looks like I succeed categorically with an 18.
Weird. They got an 18. That is a success with no cost. So they are going to succeed at a cost. So these 2 scale shingle things, they actually reach out and they start attacking the wagon itself, and attempting to get it to stop. But unfortunately, to do that, it was focusing too much, and one of those starts falling behind. I need to real quick just go check out what your wagon's stats are, and that is going to be. It doesn't. It doesn't have stats. Cool. All right, I'm gonna say it starts damaging the wagon, and with a slow success. It's not able to slow you down, but Gustum, you can hear something striking your precious Panda Express, but unfortunately, they're not able to gain purchase or stop the cart. That being said, Gustum, Kato, which of you would like to go next?
I'll take it.
All right.
I'll be like, so these things have come up and they are chewing on my cart, pretty much. Like they're attacking with their teeth to try to stop it.
Well, no, they're using these essentially scales that are floating forward. So they're not right on you yet. They're still about 25, 30 feet back. One of them is. The other one's about 40 at this point, and his scales come back.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach into my handy sack of spices, and I'm going to say, dragon pepper flakes, and I'm going to grab like a big handful of spice. I'm going to throw it over my shoulder, off to the side to Miss Darling in the back, but just off to the side to try to disperse this into a cloud of powders and spice.
Hell yeah. And what kind of role are you looking for?
I'm thinking that cooking kind of stuff would fall under heart categorically, but this you could make an argument.
I could see it both. I could see body or heart, really. I mean, honestly, cooking, I could do all three depending on what you're doing in the cooking profession.
That's true, yeah. If I was doing like precision knife work, that would definitely be body. If I was trying to do something that, required precision and focus, it might be mind. I would go heart here, and I will.
Okay.
If you're
I'll
giving
take
me
it.
the choice.
I will.
That is a 6 on the die. It's a critical success.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're able to succeed at no cost.
And I think because I crit
On any unmodified roll of a d6 will result in a critical success. You succeed with no penalties, and the impact reactions will be one category higher. Yep. Yeah, so super easy, right? You throw this.
Oh, we didn't establish impact on that beforehand. What would that impact have been?
I would have think it would have been low impact just in general, because the goal is you're using peppers and stuff like that to slow them down, but that also depends on your roll as well, right? Because you succeed with or without a cost. That's, to me, that's the difference. But it's now a medium impact, and so I imagine where before I think you described just pulling like a handful of this spice and throwing it back. I think you grab like a pouch of it and chuck it backwards. And so you're marching forward, you're pulling the reins, and you chuck this pouch backwards. And Darling, who's like scrambling up, kind of sees it and just quick duck. And the like wolf-like creature that's behind you is chasing. It just big old snarl open, roaring, and just mouthfuls this pouch and chomps down. And you hear this. And it just drops kind of back, and now you're being chased by the one who's still
too
eager.
Spicy for you, wolf, bro.
Okay, now it's up to that wolf's turn, and Shane, do me a favor and roll another vehicle proficiency check to see how well Sugar and Spice are doing with their current rate of speed.
Let's go. As a 3, sir.
Not great. So Sugar and Spice were animals not meant for the long haul, as it were, at high speed.
And they're not at high speed. Yeah, they're made for trudging long distances, not sprinting at all.
Yeah, they are not high speed animals for long distances. They have done you a service. However, they are no longer able to keep you away from this monster, and so it is this monster's turn. And I think something different happens. I think it leaps atop the cart, and I think we roll for initiative. And so we're gonna fight one of these guys on a rolling cart.
Hell yeah!
Devin's making faces like he's prepared for this.
Devin's making faces like finally. Now we're in regular initiative. I'm going to destroy this wolf in regular initiative.
Now that we've gotten out of... Because I didn't know what I was going to do, and you got to me anyways. Thank the Lord.
Okay.
Now.
Darling, bring the heat with the 21.
Yep.
Okay. So, because I can see all your rolls except for Kato's.
Mine, because...
Kato, what did you roll for initiative?
11.
11. And Darling... Just for the sake of the audio meeting, what did you roll for initiative?
21.
Thank you. And Gustum, what did you roll for your initiative?
Bring up the rear with a 7.
Hot. All right, excellent. So, where we're going to start our combat. We're still moving at 30 feet per second on this cobblestone road. So it's a little rickety, it's a little bouncy, and you've got these azure torches lighting the way. And on top, you have this ferocious monster. And it is now that you get a good look, it's got big paws. It's about 6 feet tall on those paws, 7 feet tall. And it's got this big bushy tail, and you've got this mane that's around it, these like burnt orange, these scales or shingles almost. And it's standing up there growling and almost foaming at the mouth. It's so like ready for this. Let me just check its dexterity. All right. We are going to start with Darling. Darling, you're in fox form, and you're hanging off the back of this cart. I just say that so you know that on top of this is your bad boy. I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, that you got about 10 feet up there on that cart. So one person can stand toe-to-toe with that wolf while it's on top.
That makes sense.
Not to say you couldn't go up there, bite, or you could try and attack it from the side of the cart, but if you're going to stand up on the cart, there's room for one person.
There would only be space for one other creature up there.
Correct. Everybody else would either have to fight from their seats or hang off the side and fight, and there could be some rolls and checks involved with that. As any type of like fucking Mad Max's Cobblestone Fury fight that this is.
Okay. Cool beans. Will it take an action to climb back up, or part of my move?
No, you can just climb right up.
All right, climb back up.
Difficult. So you're going to be up face to face with this thing. Got it.
I want to find a soft spot and bite it. I'm in fox form. I was like, might as well.
Chompy chomp.
Yeah, sure. How does this work? Well, I'm just going to do it this way.
Yeah, just roll a d20.
So that's going to be an 8 in total.
Okay. So yeah, you crawl up on the back of this cart, and the cart, you actually, for Kato and Gustum, as she crawls up, you kind of feel the cart kind of bounce a little bit as the weight of these two creatures rocking and they're moving around. You go to bite, and you actually bite into that collar, that mane, and it is just like scale. It's hard to your teeth. Go ahead and take 3 blunt damage for me, as these scales that are around it almost like strike at you as you approach and attack. These 2 floating scales that it has that kind of stay around it as it's fighting.
Cool beans. I'm going to use my bonus action as a fox, please.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
It's called elusive, and I'm just going to disengage and
Okay,
go
you're going
back
to crawl
down.
back down?
Yes, please.
I love it. Ooh, crawl back down. Fuck this. Yeah, and so you do that. Is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
No. Anything else takes a whole ass action.
Yep. So while it sees you, it's not necessarily threatened by you. Based on your attempt, so it turns and it looks and Kato and Gustum, it's this thing's turn next. You feel it kind of loom over you, and you kind of and it surveys its options. It sees Kato, this metal tin can. It sees Gustum, this big poofy
I'm
panda
so
bear.
delicious. I'm so delicious.
And it sees sugar and spice. And it kind of debates, but then Gustum is so delicious looking.
I'm so tasty.
So it's just gonna try and get a bite out of Gustum. So it's gonna roll 2 attacks against you.
I would describe my meat as marble.
Please do. Oh, you got a...
Okay, so I think they're gonna hit, but let me just double check. 19 and a 22.
Those do both hit, yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And so let's just roll damage real quick.
I would like to also take a reaction to intercept that attack as I'm sitting right next to Gustum.
There's
Nice.
2. There's 2. So
You intercept one
there's
of
a
them.
bite and a claw. You can take whichever you want.
Bite.
Okay. So
I don't know. Which one does more? I don't know.
The claw.
I don't get. I'm not.
The claw does.
So you intercept the bite, and you're going to take 4 piercing damage.
So your intercept, how does that work, Devin?
So interception for me, as long as you're within 5 feet of me, I can reduce the damage you take. It's a 1d10 plus 2 to a minimum of 0 damage.
So go ahead and try
you're
to
just
reduce.
reducing the damage, so you don't actually take them.
Yeah, I don't take the damage. I just reduce what he would take from one of those. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's
So
one of
roll
those
that.
new fighting styles. That's why I wanted to talk about it. That's out of the new book, right?
No,
It's just because the other one.
yeah, fighting style interception, yes, because that one's not. Yeah, it is one of the newest. That is
All right,
a
so roll your
12.
die. Oh yeah,
You
so
rolled
you
12,
reduce
so I
it
get max
entirely.
die, yeah.
What
No
does that
damage.
look like for Kato?
I think because this wolf is leaping over, right?
Well, he's leaning over and he takes a bite.
I think
How
he
does
just kind of
Kato
like,
block that?
if you're going to block a punch, just kind of like uses the momentum of the wolf's bite to kind of push it to the side of his head, and he misses.
Yeah, just pushes it off.
Uses
the
halberd or not, his glaive to move it over.
Yeah, and so he like snaps into thin air. I think Gustum, it's real close though. You feel it like snap right behind you. And then he's gonna take his claw and just wrap around your big burly chest and pull up, and you're gonna take 11 slashing damage.
Youch.
I will.
You've already used your reaction.
Yeah, but I have this thing you gave me. that lets me take
okay.
2 reactions.
What?
And okay, so we all got to like kind of if we had enough gold early on. Dwayne kind of said if you want to get a like an uncommon or magical item, uncommon items.
Yeah, that's where I got my magic spice pouch.
So what I chose and what Dwayne created for me, and it is in D&D Beyond for us, is a rebound sprocket. Basically, there's this gear that I have inside of me in my core, and it kind of like supercharges me. But once I use it, it kind of goes dormant until the next day, but it allows me to take an extra reaction in a single turn. But now that I'm burning it, I'll have to take a long rest. So I will use that to block the claw as well.
On that fighting stance, can you read that just so we make sure we're following that?
Yeah. Hold on, let me go.
I can pull up your character sheet. Ironically, it's not under the fighter.
Okay,
Like,
reaction.
quickly?
When a creature you can see hits a target other than you within 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage the target takes by 1d10 plus 2. You must be wielding a shield or a simple martial weapon to use this reaction.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it didn't have any weird, like, you can only do this once. So, yes. So, you use this, what did I call it? Tightly wound sprocket or rebound sprocket?
Rebound sprocket, yep.
Yeah, so you use this rebound sprocket, and it's this, I think it's this add-on that
Just quickly
Declan
yeah.
put into you. And so it's just like, and you, boom. So what do you roll?
I rolled a 3 plus 2, so that he reduces that by 5 damage. So it takes
Perfect. So you take 6 slashing damage instead.
I really love the idea of like, so Kato comes out with this shield, and then there's like this sprocket inside of him that like happens like on a reaction. It's like ting, and his arm just like jerks, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like ding, and it just goes to the right position to block. Like
Yes.
Yeah, and he uses his glaive to do that, not his shield.
Yeah, glaive.
But yeah, the same thing. Just ding, just ding, hits it back. And so instead of like getting raked across your chest, you get a nice piece of your shoulder taken out. And so next up in the initiative order is going to be Kato. And this thing is right above you. So you could turn around and just face it as you're standing in your seat, essentially.
I think what happens is you feel, I don't know if this thing is weighted. So if you'll note in the last episode, he had summoned the manifest echo. So it's been
Yeah, it
only
was,
about
it was
10
15
feet out. 15 feet out,
I
yeah.
assume, I don't really know how you would keep up while you're dashing. Can it dash with you? Can it just stay with you? How does that work?
If
he
if
creates
get-
it at the start of his turn. Don't you?
No, this
Don't
was
you create
last episode, like before we even started. So it's just been,
Right,
hanging
but-
out with us.
But my question is, can't you create it at the start of your turn every turn for free?
I can, yes.
why-
So that's
you
what
can just-
we'll have
just
to
make
do
it.
here.
Well, because it
Based
takes my
on
bonus action. I can, if it's already out, you see what I'm saying? Like, I can command it to move at any time.
Yeah, I just don't know that it would have been able to keep up. Can it
I
dash?
would've-
I guess it can dash.
I would've told it to
It
jump
doesn't
on.
have-
Every one thing. So when we were in narrative combat, every 6 seconds in narrative combat, Devin would have been able to re-teleport it. Would have been able to remove it into position.
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
fine. Totally, you can have
if
it.
he was keeping it up, then it would be up.
Yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, so I think you feel the cart shift. as the echo of mine is on top. Now that removes 15 of my own movement speed to have the teleport does. So actually, it's going to remove that movement speed from me for it to move there, and it will attack from behind. It doesn't do any extra thing, but it's going to take. The reason I can do that is because I can use my attack action for myself or my echo.
Correct.
Okay.
So you're just going to attack with your echo.
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to attack anyway. So that is it's a crit.
Yeah, It's going to hit.
So that is a 1d10 plus 3.
So you're going to take max damage on it, plus your roll.
10
3.
plus 4. That's 17. And then I will use a bonus action, which is my pull-on master, from me. It's coming from Kato himself to strike the front side, or attempt to.
Okay, so let's process that first thing. Your Echo Knight appears and it strikes true, and you see a gash of blue blood explode into the air. And in fact, you guys are moving quickly, so darling, that blue is just going to match your fur as it like drains down on you. And
Perfect.
You see these two floating scales, these shingles, they strike into your Echo Knight for 3 damage. So he's going to vanish.
Yes. Well,
Now,
just automatic, or does it? It's
automatic.
He only has 1 point.
Okay, yeah. So he vanishes.
Exactly. And then you're
with
going to
that-
strike with the butt of your weapon.
Butt of the weapon. Yeah, butt of the.
Yep. Roll an attack for me.
So that's a 15 for hit,
Yep.
and it's not very much. It's a 1d4 plus.
I mean, it could be enough.
It's max 4,
Yeah.
7 damage.
Yeah, and so you just turn with the butt of your glaive and just straight in the snout of this thing, and it hits, and it growls and roars, and it's almost like it was a delayed effect. It roars, and then it just drops lifeless to the top of the cart, and you feel the whole cart kind of shake because this thing is a couple 100 pounds. As it becomes lifeless. You guys win.
Woo!
It is dead.
I spin my glaive around my back and then put it into place.
So now that the combat is over, do you stop the cart to assess? Do you keep moving? What are you doing now?
I'm going to say... Kato, nice job. You want to take the reins for a second, bro?
Actually, brother, I'd like to study the specimen for further use to determine if we can somehow salvage the parts, perhaps.
Fantastic. All right. I like the way you think. I haven't eaten today, really. Well, I mean, some hot cakes. Well, and some potato cakes. Well, anyway.
I will.
Yeah.
I will field dress the beast and allow you to cook it however you see fit.
Hell yeah.
So, this is a mechanic or not a mechanic, a situation that will come up quite often, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you the choice because you have 1 corpse. You may carve this thing up, and we can roll on the treasure table to give you money, or you may carve it up and turn it into parts for Shane to use to either potentially make money or to fuel his stuff. But I will either say you can make it into parts that you just will sell or parts that you will cook and use. Because I think those are different types of cutting.
Are there circumstances in which there are larger beasts that we would be able to do both from?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Cool.
if there were multiple, I wouldn't even worry about this. But you guys dwindled it down to one.
We got one.
You got one shot. And none of you guys are excellent taxidermists or anything like that, right?
I am insanely skilled with a knife.
Yeah, you would be actually. I was going to say, my bust. Gustum would be insanely good. But since Kato is doing it, not exactly his specialty of field dressing. So,
Well,
Kato, would
my-
you prefer money
my question
or
is-
animal parts?
I also, in the course of this, want to study, because we haven't run any of these creatures before. Is that correct?
Correct, you have not.
I would like to
You have
know, the next time we fight these things, do the plates come off at certain places? Like, what information can I glean from the fight we had with it, knowing that, like, those plates that came off and shot at us, did they replace? Are they just soft spots now? In the, in the
Yeah.
armor it had around its neck?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And I don't even think for this it's a different role, because there will be parts where if you want to learn something about the beast, we'll do an investigation roll. But with as simplistic as these monsters are, I can give you some of that information just by you cutting them up and having a close encounter.
Well, and I think another question to help me determine if we do this for money or for parts is,
Yes.
we will have to have rations. Well, they'll have to have rations, because I don't eat them, but they'll have to have rations to survive.
I have
So-
so many. I have a whole food truck, dude. I've spent so much gold ahead of time on rations. We're good.
The only other thing that you guys as a party should consider is that Mr. Blue Mage can, if he eats these things, can take their abilities potentially.
And I
right?
have no powers right now. My whole level 3 feature is going to waste because I haven't eaten anything yet.
I'd like to, I don't know, play that out. I would ask. I would say, darling, would you even eat this, as it appears to be from the same familial ties as you?
Well, I think she'll be up on the cart sniffing it, for one thing, because I feel like you can get a good figure about how something smells and whether or not you want to eat it.
That's good.
That's up to you. Like, you want to eat it, you tell me. I mean, it's not rancor by any means.
The meat wouldn't be super appealing. It is a carnivore, presumably. Typically, they don't have the most delicious meat.
Yep.
It would not be like, oh, how succulent, this delicious wolf.
Yeah, it's not like a deer where you got some nice,
it's
juicy parts. It's more muscle than anything else.
It's not dressed yet, so right now it's just a corpse.
Yep.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, I wonder what, like, anything I should be aware of, and she'll turn back to her normal self because, for reasons. I hear my cat. I'm sorry. I suppose if that's like one of the only things, and if there's more than just rations in the cart, that would probably be more tasty than other things.
Excellent.
Perhaps. Yeah, we should keep it.
Gus, any tips on how I should prepare this beast?
What do you mean, my guy? You cut it into it should have pretty described cuts. What's up?
Do
man?
you have use of the pelt?
No, man. I'm just trying to eat it.
I want the fur.
Excellent. I will ensure that I separate the meat from the fur in a pleasurable manner.
Darling will keep it clean. She's got prestidigitation. There's probably blood all over her and the cart. It's just like
there's like a whole like prep counter like
How would you go use that? I wouldn't
cart.
start like right
Okay,
here.
but-
Like
You would have to stop, right? Unless you're gonna like.
We
pull
already
it
stopped.
Down.
No.
Oh, did you stop? Okay, I didn't hear that.
It was in character in dialogue. I was like, "Yeah, halt!"
Oh,
Yeah.
my bust. My bust. So
Oh.
you stopped the car. Absolutely.
you didn't hear the yaw halt?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I couldn't be more
just
clear.
didn't connect it. I'm trying to like all these mechanics I gotta like work through to make
You
this.
have been through the ringer so far. It has been a lot.
No, that's fine.
For
Okay, so you bring
I've
it down, and you pull it down, and you pull it onto this counter that slides out, right? Is that the one you're talking about? And so you're going to dress this thing. And why don't you tell me your goal, right? And let me describe this creature one more time physically. It is wolf-like, that it's on all fours. It's got these big paws and claws, big jowls, right? And it's got this big mane of like scales and shingles. It is, like I said, it is not attractive. It's like burnt orange, but you can tell it's tough. And then there's these two big chunks that are missing from where it had those floating pieces that have just fallen and they're gone because they fell when you guys killed it.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to be clear, could I have like, you said we had to make a decision if we're going to get this thing for like food or for like parts for like money and stuff. Can I just save like enough for a meal, like a wolf cutlet, and then like I don't need to sell wolf tacos out of the shop. I don't need a big supply of meat.
At any point, if you're just trying to get a couple meals, just a couple, then I don't really care, right? But if you're trying to get the pelt, if you're trying to get parts off the animal, like for specific things that you guys want to craft gear or try to do stuff like that, then you have to be more precise in what you're doing.
I got you. It occurred to me as he was going to process this. I was like, oh, Dwayne thinks I want like a lot of wolf. No, I'm just trying to get a snack.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to eat this over and over again to keep getting those same traits.
Ish.
Well, how does that work?
So the way it works is I take on the feature until either I prepare a new meal and override the effect of the new feature, or I'm reduced to 0 hit points.
Right. So what I mean by that is you would want more than one use of this potentially, because if you change up, you would have to go eat this again to get. I would, trait.
Yeah. So ideally, and I have my instrumental pantry that keeps ingredients fresh. Ideally, I could get like a bunch of pieces from a bunch of different monsters and create like combo meals later when I can get more effects and stuff. But right now, I'm just worried about having a feature.
This is where I'm coming in and just saying that if you wanted to get multiple bites, right, like a lot, like 10 of them, you could not get money out of it, right?
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, you're like, all right, cool, I got 10 of these wolf steaks.
Let me get a wolf steak, and then Caleb can process the rest for whatever he wants.
Let's establish this rule of thumb.
Okay.
That way we don't have to play this game, and I don't have to forget about it.
Sure.
So I just need to write this down. Going forward, on all medium-sized creatures, you can take 2 meals.
Without impacting anything.
Without impacting like the treasure or anything else. Okay. You can take 2 meals. If it is a large creature, I will say that is doubled to 4. So medium is 2, large is 4.
You just want to double it each size category for ease?
I was gonna say
that gets a little silly. It really big though.
I was gonna say that that past large is going to be a maximum of your wisdom modifier. For free,
wisdom modifier plus proficiency.
Yeah, fuck it. Because if you kill something that big,
it's that big.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen a lot.
Yeah, because that's gonna be giant and huge and stuff like that, and I mean that's gonna be a fight. So, and this is assuming you don't pull treasure from it. And let's talk about that real quick because the first couple episodes we're gonna have some crunchiness as I'm setting up this campaign. When you guys kill things, we will be doing treasure tables, so you can find random items, potions, all that kind of nonsense. But when I say like meat and parts to sell, one of the treasure tables that you get is like, oh, you just get gold and coin. That's fucking stupid. Like, the wolves aren't gonna have that, or like creatures aren't gonna have that. But you can take those parts, and when you go in town, you can exchange that for money pretty much anywhere, right? So we don't have to pretend that these monsters have coins on them.
Right.
So. Wolves don't carry coins in a coin purse? In a prison wallet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
But they do carry potions sometimes.
They do carry potions sometimes in their prison wallet.
Cool. So I will meticulously peel off these, like the scaly things around their neck, then cut the fur away from the meat, then section portions of meat, and then the carcass. I'm gonna throw it out the back.
So are you going for the gold, or are you going for?
We're going for the
getting
gold,
more
it seems.
meat?
With
Okay.
knowing that we're gonna keep a couple cutlets
Yep.
back.
Yep. So you take this time, and I'm not going to meticulously paint a picture of you field dressing something.
Please
we got enough. So you field dress.
We got
this thing.
enough.
And Devin, I will say what you notice of this thing is that you know that those two shingles that no longer are on it, right? You can kind of see these like indents, these imperfect spots where these shingles were there. You know that those were like a part of it somehow, and that, you know, when you were attacking it, they were it was defending itself with these.
Okay.
Shane will eventually get the stat block, and I'll put it up on Patreon and stuff like that, so you guys can go see it.
Cool.
Because Shane will need it for his character. And so you're able to do that. Shane, you can add and so let's talk about another thing of this campaign. Some creatures you come across will be unnamed, and you guys will be forced to name it. That said, this is not one of them. This is a
Just
pretty common
name.
one for everyone else around. Shane, for the concept of your inventory, but not necessarily your character's knowledge, these
Understood.
are called shunters. Shunter. So you have 2 pieces of their meat.
Got it.
And I will get you their stat blocks. And I can send you the rough notes. I don't have a pretty one for Patreon, but I have my notes I can send to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. At your convenience. Pleasure.
Perfect. And so, as you carve it up, I think you guys are... Tell me what you want to do next. Do you want to get back on the road to move along? Or what's the situation?
I think you guys just hear Gus's stomach growling from his place in the driver's seat, just like drooling, like, I'm gonna eat something new. I'm gonna eat new food.
Darling over here, like cleaning up the cart and all the blood over here, just like gross, 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 gross,
Magic,
gross.
magic.
magic.
Just
all
sparkles
the way,
wash
magic
over the
clean.
cart as the blood disappears. Or blue flame, perhaps.
Yeah,
Ooh, love that.
blue flaming magic. Yep.
We all good to go, my dude?
Everything has been cleaned up. Darling has done a wonderful job helping me, and I think we can move on.
Rock
So
and roll.
I think Kato slides the preparation rack back into the Panda Express and climbs back up into the shotgun, and there's a gentle rap of the reins against sugar and spice. And as hoof meets cobblestone, you hear the sound of thunder break above you, and it begins to rain. And that's where we're going to end the episode.
Smooth.
Thanks for listening. Again, we will not be doing our whole tirade of shout outs, sponsors, and just plugging our shit. We'll have that done automatically. However, we do need to do a roll for humanity, and we are one shy from last episode. So Shane, will you please do a roll for humanity for me ×2 and talk about our charity real quick, because that is still a thing to do.
Yeah, so for this month we're going to be doing Operation Comics Relief, which is a really cool organization. They send comics to service members, soldiers, Marines, seamen, airmen, spacemen. I don't know if they're spacemen yet, but they send comics to all those guys downrange, so they have comics to read, because sometimes, I'm sure Devin will attest, the greatest enemy sometimes is boredom. But yeah, this is going to be a great service for them. I rolled a 19 for my first roll, and then for my second roll, A 15.
Dang.
So 19 and a 15.
Dang! That is
Very nice.
a whole lot. What a strong start.
That's a whole lot of money for Steven.
A whole lot
That's a lot of pesos, you know? Cool. Hey, so what we're going to do here, because every campaign except for campaign 1 had a bit at the end. Some better than others. This one may not be that great.
Purple,
That
two of them.
said, here's what we're going to do. Because I think the sheeple and the good and bad juxtaposition of life is important. And I think one thing that we don't do enough in this podcast is provide insight and wisdom. So what I'm going to do every episode, at the end of every episode, is I'm going to give you guys a quote. And I want you to elaborate on that quote. Whether that is the truth behind it, whether that is what it really means, the downsides, the good, bad. You guys can pick your hole, where you fall into that, right? Yeah, you can pick a hole, Devin. You just pick a hole and you go
You
for
don't
it.
have to tell me twice.
You pick your role in this, and then we'll find some consistency. Far be it from me to pigeonhole. So while you think on that, I'm going to give you our first quote. Is everybody ready?
Is the name of this bit going to be Holy Scriptures?
It is now. It is now. Just write that down for editorial. Okay,
I don't like it.
perfect. So
Okay, Devin doesn't like it.
Okay, go.
it is better to remain silent at the risk of being thought a fool than to talk and remove all doubt of it. And this is from Maurice
Confucius.
Switzer.
Oh. Who's it?
It says Maurice Switzer. I trust the internet, whatever that means.
I would have guessed Thomas Paine, but I don't know anything. Would you let me elaborate?
Yes, please elaborate. Why don't you take it?
I was once at a dining out, which folks in the military know is like a big fancy party. You have to put on your dress uniform and you go, and everybody like drinks way too much, and you're there with like your bosses, and it's weird. I got way too drunk, way too fast. I'm a child. I'm like 19. I'm not even supposed to be drinking. And I'm sat at the table with like all the commanders, all the important people. For whatever reason, it's just me and all the people. And eventually one of my bosses turns to me and goes, "Why aren't you saying anything, Shane? Why aren't you talking? You're usually so funny and talkative. Why aren't you chatting up?" I said, "Well, Sergeant, better to keep quiet and make everybody wonder whether or not I'm too drunk than to open my mouth and remove all doubt." It's a real story. It's just, that's the thing that happened. And I always think of that when I think of that quote. It works for more than one thing.
Devin?
The hole that I got from that was Shane's mouth hole. And that's all for me.
Sorry.
I think I
What did
found
you
my
say?
bit.
It broke up.
That's it.
I'm going to point out the
He's-
holes in every story. They'll be like, oh, is he trying to prove this story false? No, he's just trying to find his way. So far, it's just the mouth hole. Shane's mouth hole.
Shane's mouth.
Okay. Avon, how would you like to approach this quote?
Well, for one thing, I would like you to repeat it again.
Yeah,
Slower.
absolutely.
Sexier.
Slower. It is
Slower,
better to
please.
remain silent at the risk of being thought a fool than to talk and remove all doubt of it.
Slower.
I think my little bet is going to be, I don't know, positive vibes. Somehow, I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. Well, I got several episodes.
you
He
get
was
time.
just gonna take this one to ruminate.
She was just trying to buy time. She's every episode she's gonna go. Can you?
Can I thank
Avon, I
everybody
really-
for participating in the bit?
Yeah,
No,
please.
it's
I appreciate it. I thought Avon was going to say, I appreciate the positivity of it, and just if you remove the doubt, maybe you should speak up, maybe you should be a part of it, and don't just assume everything is negative. But that's okay. Hey, that's the whole point of throwing a bit on you guys. I told you it would be
you
wonky and weird.
assumed too much. You didn't let me finish talking. You were just like, I'm on it. Rude as fuck.
Oh,
Fair enough.
Damn.
Let's hear it now.
No, I was gonna say that people should speak up. Staying silent, like, sure, but you won't know my thoughts if I don't say nothing. And I spoke up. Thank you very much.
It's true. And if we don't have conversations, we'll never find common ground. That being said, we love you.
We love you.
Love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.